Stagnation.
Nice key.
Oh
On the
my
beat.
God.
Champions.
Listen, man, we decided to remix the intro. We hope you like our desk drumming there. It's a little something special. It's a little something special. At least we can say it's something that is not corrupt.
We got rhythm.
It was pure. Pure rhythm. Unlike some people who do not have rhythm, despite their elaborate or monumental plans, rather, to control the whole world, essentially, is what it feels like. Over the many, I don't say many years. Well, over the past many years, really.
Yeah, decades.
Yes.
By now. Yo.
We have all been learning about
blockchains, Bitcoin, crypto,
Ethereum, crypto, all of that stuff. In fact, the head of the SEC today was a professor. Where was this? Is this Stanford?
MIT.
Or Harvard? MIT.
King Schiller.
King Schiller was at MIT. Poisoning the minds of the young people. You know what?
Planting.
Now that I think about it, it makes sense why there's so many Ethereum people out here. Because they heard about this thing in college. How are you going to tell them any different?
Man, plus, you got to get special privilege to pay to go to that college.
Yes.
Right. So when you get there, you get the internal access. So you can be an early stage investor.
Right.
But now they've planted the seeds in your mind.
Incredible. I got to make that thing shorter. It goes for too long. Have no fear. So over the past few years, we've heard about these situations where it seems, or at least reports, of the SEC being corrupt. This is a U.S. government entity. When you think about outstanding institutions, ones that are relatively free of corruption, right? Because I think it's almost impossible to have pure
governance without corruption
at certain levels.
Yep.
This could be evidenced by the fact that we see that the SEC has been in court with XRP for many years, while letting other crypto companies
actually pushing at the time.
Yes, right. Carry on and making a path easier for Ethereum, which is the same thing like any of these other cryptocurrencies you see out here.
Yep.
And goddamn you, if you're a black person, then they just shut you down right away.
Veritas.
Right? We see that happening as well.
Yeah.
Now, at this point in time, it seems that a lot of things are unraveling as we're coming to find out that there is more information, or at least an interesting, approach or analysis of the whole crypto situation again.
The whole quagmire.
Exactly, the whole quagmire. I like that word, sir. I like that word. The kerfuffle, which we find ourselves in right now,
yes, sir,
is one that has stripped multiple people of their value,
of their hard-earned money,
their financial strength, if you will. What are we talking about here? First, I would like to start by pointing out this video here, which shows Gary Gensler talking about Ethereum and how this distribution happened. Before we go into all these other things that are being displayed before us, we don't need to take sides on this. We're just here to share the information with you and get your feedback.
By the way, we're no Bitcoin maxis. This is just pure information. You can research it yourself.
Research it yourself. Because at the end of the day, it's about individual responsibility. So here we see Gary Gensler talking to the kids at MIT, and what he's describing here is the distribution of the Ethereum token, right? The same thing that he really considers to be securities today. Let's jump in.
Vitalik wanted to raise money. He was maybe 19 years old. He looped in with a venture capitalist from Canada, Joe Lubin, who now runs Consensus. Lubin took about 10% or 9.5% of the offering. They put 9.5% in a foundation called the Ethereum Foundation, and the other 80% was sold to the public for $18 million.
Vitalik Buterin, at 19 years old, wanted to raise money, looped in with venture capitalists, and then, kept some, sold the rest.
That's a good return on $80 million because $80 million is now what? How many $1 million on the Ethereum blockchain?
This is where my I don't want to say my contemplation. This is where my doubts start to kick in. It's a 19-year-old kid. Yeah. It's a 19-year-old kid.
Oh, kind of
Yeah.
like the Microsoft Google situation all over again.
Hey, who knows, man? All I know is somehow, some way, there's a 19-year-old kid out there who not only copied Bitcoin and created this whole blockchain thing called Ethereum again, but he also had access to venture capitalists in Canada who conveniently just handed over millions and millions of dollars to a 19-year-old kid
That happens in the startup world. But I
on
don't think
technology that is unproven.
yeah, it doesn't happen to you and I, though.
It does not happen to 19-year-old kids every day. Period.
Points made.
And it does not happen to 19-year-old kids every day. And then you have someone at MIT already telling everyone that this is what happened. There is an agenda in the role. Personal opinion.
Is it full on attack from day one?
Think about it.
Bitcoin is the solution. No, we gotta shut it down.
Yes.
Implement Ethereum.
Right away, let's divert. A little while back, we did this video where they did a simulation of how they will respond to these things, right? At that point in time, they were already aware of this. However, as we're coming to learn right now, Ethereum seems to not be really what it was according to these reports that we are finding here. What are your thoughts so far, just based on what you've seen? And then please lead us then into the next part of this.
Whew. America, we love you.
Say America, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it's
Push on.
It's just one of those M&M situations, man.
Yeah.
Like we started at the beginning of this video. It's a kerfuffle.
Yeah.
Bitcoin came into existence. Right after that was a year or two after that was the introduction of Ethereum. A copycat, but instead a way to divert the attention from the pure solution. And what we've found out through our readings and what we're trying to show you guys here today is that what we think is Ethereum, the so-called decentralized solution for all, right?
Yeah.
That is supposed to be better than Bitcoin, that is supposed to flip in Bitcoin, as they would say, is actually extremely centralized and has a lot of inner workings and connections to key government sectors and even on the international level.
Well, here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen. Please, we'd like you to just pay attention here because we don't want to drag it all day. So a lot of information is going to come at you fast and heavy. First, let's give credit to some of these people, which we're using their tweets here. We have this Financial Services GOP, right? U.S. House Committee on Financial Services for Republicans. And so they made this tweet here where it says this is the expert takedown of Prometheum's CEO. Prometheum is a blockchain company as well that is, interestingly, perfectly positioned at this point in time to try to take on this idea of regulated blockchains, right, if you will.
Once they approve it,
exactly,
they are positioned to be the billion-dollar market.
Exactly,
if not trillion.
After wrecking everything else, now we see that Prometheum CEO has recently become the latest mouthpiece for Gary Gensler. If almost all digital assets are unregistered securities, which is what Gensler claims, how can you operate a broker-dealer firm for them? It's also something I've also been thinking about. If all these things were unregistered securities, how did you approve for Coinbase to be a publicly traded company if your job is to protect the investors? Because that's what he says all the time, right? Trying to protect investors.
Yep.
So how can they...
how do you protect investors by destroying...
exactly.
by destroying their investments?
Exactly, right? So how can a broker-dealer register if they don't know which assets are a security and which ones are not? This is also something that we've been struggling with for a very long time, right? The SEC not bringing any clarity to what exactly is a security, even though their one and only job is to know what a security is.
How do you approve a broker to sell securities if you know that what they're selling is not securities?
Exactly.
Think about it.
Exactly. I'm going to read this one tweet here from Robert, and then we're going to move on to the next page. It's embarrassing A company with co-CEOs was brought into the front of this community. Anyone with legitimate tech experience knows a company with co-CEOs is amateur and not legitimate. How are unserious companies representing the U.S. congressional company? This is true. At the end of the day, when you grow a company into a massive whatever, right? You cannot have two CEOs. You can have a CFO. There has to be division, right? Everybody has their bucket to move that ship forward.
A good example was GE.
Yes.
You can only co-CEO for so long because eventually you have to split those divisions into their own specific entities.
Absolutely. And just down below, we have a beautiful image of what has happened to all of our accounts.
It's laughable now.
Exactly. Now, this thread here is from Truth Labs, right?
By the way,
this
is reversing the power of blockchain.
This is reversing the power of blockchain onto the same onto the perpetrators.
Yes.
If you will.
This is awesome, by the way.
Why is Gary Gensler teaching a false history on Ethereum's ICO in his MIT class? It says, and this is also part of where the video we just saw at the beginning. And in this thread, essentially, we're not going to go through all of it. It shows.
I think you have a diagram over there.
Yes, we do have this diagram over here. It shows the original creation of these Ethereum wallets, and there is this person, Wei Zhang, who created this wallet apparently for Vitalik Buterin. Now, we're not saying that this is true or false. We're just sharing the information as is with you, because this is information from the blockchain. And as we know, all these blockchain people have always been the ones, or the crypto people have been saying, the information is verifiable. It cannot be changed. It cannot be manipulated with on the blockchain.
This is why I would think Africa needs the blockchain. You cannot hide anything. We are familiar with these addresses because back in the day when we were messing around with the Etherscan,
we
were like,
we'll come across some of
these addresses. Now it all makes sense. These are the big money movers.
Early days, when especially in those early days, you used to look for wallets that had like a bunch of money in it, like some of the richest wallets and things like that. This is now this is again Chainalysis, the same things that they want to use for KYC. These same tools are exactly the same things that are exposing them right now. And of course, given that it's really centralized, I will not be surprised if at some point in time all of this information disappears, because we have seen the Ethereum blockchain be rolled back once before. Nothing is to say they cannot roll it back again. I'm just going to give you a quick rundown of this, and then we'll wrap up with our final thoughts here. Double up.
Okay, keep it.
This one here is from Dimitri Rumetolis, right? Dimitri Rumetolis is a relationship manager over at Lumida Wealth.
It's always the big bankers that know how to. It's a banking thing, man. Hide the money, show the money.
Hold the money, show the all of it. They're always all in it. And for some reason, I don't know. It's like some people left out in the dark onto, or why is it that you're doing your due diligence now after things are, listen, everything that you see, take with a grain of salt. But we definitely appreciate this right up here from Dimitri, right? So let's jump into it. It says that the Bank of China issued $28 million in digital structured notes on the Ethereum blockchain.
Not surprising. China has been pushing, Hong Kong has been pushing banks to forcibly start accepting crypto. And we also note that BRICS has recently been having conversations about trading in crypto. Bitcoin being one of the solutions.
Exactly. We saw China ban Bitcoin last year. Bitcoin mining, rather.
The ban Bitcoin mining, but
many years ago.
20-something% of the Bitcoin hash rate was still coming out of China.
So there's nothing you can trust about these people, right? We'll run through this. China is more engaged in crypto than you think. It's home to 30,000 registered blockchain companies and hosts 84% of global blockchain patents. 84%.
America is behind, man.
That is shocking.
America is behind.
2. Well, actually, the interesting thing is America has billions of dollars in Bitcoin that they have stolen or seized from people. It's interesting. I don't think those people... I'm going to divert here for a little bit, because it's just one thing I want to point out, because now is a good time to point it out, because I think I will forget it after this. We've made multiple videos, especially when we were talking about Mt. Gox. Do you remember last year there was a point in time where they kept talking about they were looking into giving back or distributing back the funds for the people who lost their Bitcoins in the Mt. Gox situation? In one of those videos back then, I said that this is just a crappy, horrible ploy, and these people will never see back their money. They said they were going to start distributing that money. They gave some sort of a timeline, but the timeline was very vague. And I said in that video that this means that they're not going to give it back. They're just dangling this carrot over people's faces, and it's not going to happen. We are over a year past.
Another fraud to push the price down.
Are they even talking about giving those bitcoins again?
Why would they give it back if they don't think it's a security? So again, they're they're counteracting themselves.
Yeah.
Either you say something and you say it's not valuable and it's junk, but you want to return it. Yeah. And at the same time, you're saying it's a security.
Yes. And yet you have not even returned it. You're still holding it.
Conflicts.
Okay. Well, look at that. Let's go back to the screen share here. Just those people never see those bitcoins. All right. Well, but this is a potential threat to our democracy. The Hoover Institute thinks so. Warning of China's growing influence on our digital economy. So, how will our regulators and politicians respond to China's pro-crypto moves?
This is what Jason Lowry was saying in his book, y'all.
Something about digital power. I think
we are going digital.
Yeah.
And if China gets a head start or wins, we are massively, massively behind.
Well, listen, I think what does China winning even look like? That's the other thing.
China's already winning.
Yeah, but let's say China getting to a point where you're like, you know what, China is clean and clear ahead of the US in this digital financial space. What does that landscape look like?
Exactly what's going on in China right now. Digital credit scores, government controlling how you spend your money.
So full oppression.
I mean, the Chinese people are comfortable with the oppression because they trust their government.
Yeah,
but it's just so un-American.
Yeah, they say you don't know what you don't know, right? And I think it's tricky to take people who have tasted freedom to try to roll them back.
They're doing it
into no freedom.
They're doing it so conveniently. People are conveniently given this centralized authorities their entire life.
Exactly. And how much people trust this traditional authorities? I told you about one of my uncles, man.
It's a good job.
Okay. This man could buy a stock. He'll buy Tesla on Fidelity. If you bought your Tesla on Robinhood, your Tesla stock, your one Tesla stock is not the same as his. Okay. You bought yours on a, how would you call it?
On a prestigious.
Yeah, he bought his on a prestigious platform, while you bought yours on an inferior platform. So, and you cannot talk to him about it. So, but this is exactly this, right? It's social engineering.
Yeah.
Forcing people. It's social engineering. If you get people to realize, to start thinking that the only way they can buy Bitcoin is through BlackRock, is social engineering. Okay, it's like this guy Andrew Tate. He said this about I don't know if you saw the monkey scenario.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right?
he did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So here are the options then for the US, according to Dimitri here. Okay, either reject both crypto and China's influence and maintain the status quo. 2, see this an opportunity for strategic tech innovation. Recognize the need to keep up with global competitors and reevaluate our position.
We already see the advantage of this technology. As you can see there, in one of the slides that we just showed, or the pages we just showed, you can see transactions. Yeah. And these transaction rates are done in seconds, something that the SWIFT system cannot do.
Absolutely.
The innovation is there. Why go this route of just giving access to specific entities, destroying the market, and giving your competitor an advantage?
It's about staying in control. We'll read this next 7 tweets here and we'll shut it down. Listen, the world is moving fast. We say this on the show all the time. Our leaders need to understand the importance of keeping up with these changes.
They're too old, man. They're dinosaurs.
Listen, man. The everyday people. This is why the Robinhood thing happened. Okay, because the everyday people stayed at home, did their research, got smart, and took action, and we wrecked all this Wall Street essentially. The only thing is,
Wall Street the government cheated for them, though.
Yeah, they cheated. They're
still cheating right now.
On a level playing field, we are winning. Period. These guys cannot catch us as a society. But we keep playing into their game, which we can never win.
Accredited investors, really.
Are you tuned into this global development yet? Follow Dimitri there.
We're asking you
for more info.
We're asking you to do
we're
that.
also asking you as well. And please, if you have a moment, okay, go over there and give these guys a read. Right, it's only worth it. We appreciate that put together because these are some concepts that we've spoken about on the show ourselves, and I think he really how would you say, put them down here in a succinct.
You know what's funny?
Yeah.
Even the Bitcoin maxers don't get the fact that Michael Saylor, one of their favorites,
Yes.
says that we're gonna have a world of this environment where you have proof of works, the main one, which is Bitcoin, and all this other shittiness going on.
Yeah.
What you have to come to reality, which we just recently got an example of that, is that there are going to be folks that are going to be doing this just for the money.
Yeah.
Just for the access.
Yeah.
And there are those like you and I that are in it for not just the money, but that freedom,
see a change for the better in the current financial system. One that is possibly fair for all of us to advance, because we already know that you could work very hard, but you may not make it.
Yep.
That's really what life is. And to add on to that, adding a human factor onto that is what is absolutely asinine as well. So I agree with you. Anything else before we close this one out?
Yeah, I think we've educated enough today.
Oh, okay. Well, there it is. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on Twitter as STAKK. We hope you found this video helpful. Please like, share, and subscribe. It really means a lot to us, right? I'm just going to skip Facebook and Instagram there because we're banned on one, and the other one, well, who knows if they're going to make it. We're also on Spotify, STAKK. Please check out our channel there. We don't have a lot of videos yet, but we are working on it. In the meantime, we have a lot of other videos here on our channel. Please check those out. Learn more about Bitcoin. It will really mean a lot to us if we all have a better understanding and can have stronger conversations as to how we can take control of our financial future. Remember, we're supposed to be the leaders of the future. This is what they told us, right? But right now, we're standing in a place where all the old people will not let go of the controls. In fact, they want to be able to enslave us for the benefit of their generations. It's up to us to do what we need to do. They have every right to do that. They're just humans as well.
You have your own rights.
Exactly. You also have your own right to break out of that. Nothing else. Until next time, Brazen out.
Double O.